Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Talks for Emerging Leaders. Leadership Talks is a podcast hosted by Leadership Card, a leadership training coaching organization. Leadership Card is a brainchild of four individuals: Kirandeep Sandhu, Ashish Datta, Ram Ramakrishnan, and Devesh Mohan, who share a common vision and mission to support 1 million emerging leaders to solve problems for self, others, and the organization. Leadership Card runs leadership programs for individual contributors, corporate clients. Our coaches collectively have over 100 years of experience and come from diverse fields such as academics, finance, operations, real estate, and sales. Every week on Leadership Talks, we invite leaders from varied fields and industries to share their stories and share their tips and strategies which can help you to accelerate your personal and professional growth journey. I'm your friend Kirandeep Sandhu, a leadership communication coach, and I'm hosting today's episode along with Devesh Mohan. So over to you, Devesh.
Thank you, Kiran, and happy to be here with you again on this show and hosting it. And today I have a privilege of having our guest today, Vijay T S, a management professional with experience in growth-oriented companies in India, APAC, and US. He is currently working as a managing director at Chegg India, a subsidiary of Chegg Inc., an American Edu Technology company. He has driven change management initiatives, including organizational restructuring initiatives and facilitating their acceptance by the employees across hierarchical levels. His experience span across organizations such as Hyundai, Birla and DuPont. In his previous roles, he was responsible for devising metrics to bring improvement in HR operations and enhance credibility of the HR function. So, welcome, Vijay, and thank you for making time to be with us today.
Hi Devesh, hi Kiran, and thanks for having me here.
Absolutely a privilege. Looking forward to this knowledge sharing session. I'm sure all our viewers and listeners are going to be super excited for what they're going to take away from you. But today,
Sure.
Vijay, let me start with this question. You've been working with so many different organizations which have different landscapes. You've also worked in different countries, continents. So, can you just share with our viewers that how has that, shaped you as a leader?
Sure. So you're right. I think I personally have learned through the times when people are people, people across, irrespective of countries, irrespective of industries, irrespective of irrespective of the place that you are in. They are just the same, provided as a leader, if you're able to listen to the needs of the people, of the environment, of the society, and of the stakeholders, for example the customers or the suppliers, if you're able to listen to the needs and actually devise ways to actually solve problems, so it's just the same. And I started my career as one of the first few employees of Hyundai Motors in India. And when I started there, it is a Korean multinational, and we were having a very different problem. People didn't know what Hyundai was. I mean, today it is a household name in India, but scroll back 23 years back, 25 years back. I mean, people didn't know, and that was one of the first few multinational companies to set shop in India. And the challenges that we faced were very different. uh, think about me joining them as a trainee, right? And for a job, you landed there, and you were actually, and it's not that you have a whole lot of people to do everything and you have everything set. First few employees, I was like rather the first employee for the marketing sales headquarters. And I mean, we were we were given outcomes to meet. That's it.
Mhm. Okay.
Ultimately, and then as a team you figure it out, and you sweat, you fume, you do everything, you hustle around, and ultimately figure out a way to learn and solve problems first of all. But one of the things that I learned early on, actually way back in school, was the theory of karma. I mean, I went to a school which also taught us to learn at least one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That
Hmm.
has stayed on with me a much more longer.
Wow.
Okay, the so for me, we just have to do the right things and keep
Mm.
doing it. If
Wow.
you actually necessarily wait for the results to keep pushing you to motivate you every time, you may actually cut corners. So that's something which got onto my mind early on, saying that you have to do the right thing, come what may.
Mm-hmm.
Building capability, come what may. You have to be better than yesterday. You have to be better than yesterday today.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me onto a philosophy of living a day at a time. you know and also, how can today be better than yesterday? How can I learn? So one of the things that I started doing was to at least interacting with one new person every day when I started a long time back. I
Brilliant.
mean, I started in HR, and I spent a lot of time in HR. Actually, was that came in very handy to me. When you talk to people, you at least when you listen to them is what you learn. So, I should credit bunch of my learnings to the people who actually spoke to me, who
I
actually took time to talk to me.
I really liking
Good.
what you said. It's really interesting. I mean, it's a very philosophical way of looking at the leadership journey that you have embarked on. Is and you're saying it started from your school days, and that has actually evolved you into the kind of person who you want to be today. I mean, getting better each day and be grounded to what you core at the core believe that just do the right thing. I mean, that's really well put, Vijay. Over to you,
Yeah.
Devesh.
Yes, absolutely. So it's something which I really liked in terms of having one person daily. You're meeting someone new and learn from them,
Mhm.
and how can you really look each day as one day where you are trying to make that particular day better than yesterday. And that probably reflects, Vijay, the way you have grown in your career. And you started with your people management skills, where you honed those, and some of these ingredients which you told really probably would have just helped you in terms of that how you can continue to become a very effective people management leader. And over a period of time, with that core functional skill, you actually moved into a general management role, which is there, where you are now leading the organization from the entire business operations point of view. So would you like to share with our viewers that how this journey for you has been, where you have been successfully been able to navigate yourself from a core functional role to a general management role? And I'm sure, because a lot of people would be exciting to hear you, because that's something so many of us aspire to be. So yeah, Vijay, over to you.
Sure. So Devish, one of the things that I definitely believe is whatever you expect to do, you need to be best in that. First thing first, you have to excel in whatever you're expected to do first. And once you excel, is what you get time to try out new things. You build trust in your system to be given more opportunities to try out new things. That's one of the mantra that I would definitely say that has helped me a lot. So wherever I was, whatever I did, I'm a strong believer of doing it the best way possible. Whatever I try to do, whatever is expected of me, I want to make it world class as far as possible to the best of my knowledge and
Mhm.
abilities. Right. So doing that gets you ahead of the curve, and once you are ahead of the curve, you get more space to try out new things. When you're trying out new things, of course there will be failures, there will be losses too, but the losses could be offset, or the failures could be offset by the successes of you being ahead. Right. So that's how I look at it. And uh, while being in HR, like I told you, started my career with Hyundai Motors. Then I joined Birla. In Birla is a software development. It used to be a software development company, still is. And there, at every point in time, I was very close to the business. I would understand what is the business problem that we are trying to solve, when in wherever,
Right.
whatever we are. Right? If we are actually outcome oriented, if we actually try to talk to people, saying that what is the business problem that we are trying to solve, functions, each function is meant to do that in its own way. I mean, it's not that you need to reinvent the wheel
Absolutely.
anywhere. But if you are doing your part the best way possible, keeping the end outcome in mind, you will of course be your views or your points will always be valued more, by the respective leader that you work for, or a customer that you work for. Ultimately,
Absolutely.
each business is supposed to be delivering a societal outcome, customer outcome, a environmental outcome, and an employee outcome, right? And when you keep these things in mind, it's like way back we learned about balance scorecard, right? Which
Mhm.
actually spoke about I mean the functional side, the financial side of it, the customer side of it, and multiple. So I feel that each business exists for these four things: the societal first, the customer, and the environmental, and the people, and the employee side of it. If you're trying to look at all of these things, I think if you keep the end outcome in mind, you will land up there, adding value in all of these things. Ultimately, that's where the business exists for.
No, thank you, Vijay. I think you are making a very pertinent point in terms of that. Ultimately, whatever the functions which are there within the organization, the end goal is same in terms of that how you can deliver to the stakeholders, and that stakeholders could be here, as you said, the environment, the community, the customer which is there, and the employees, and they became the core fundamental. And if you take that as a key part of your daily activity, I think you would be able to be successful, and that's what you have been proving. So great, thanks, Vijay. Over to you, Kiran.
Yeah, and in fact, I was just thinking about it that many times people, and I'm loving what Vijay is saying it repeatedly, solving problems. And if you've heard what Leadership Card is all about, helping people to learn how to solve problems for self, for others, and and for the society, and all of that is encompassed in the programs that we've run. Because many times we think as leadership, it's about managing other people. It's actually, first of all, you got to manage yourself, and then you manage other people. So that's that whole thing. But obviously, keeping all the four elements that you've talked about: society, customers, environment, and employee. So Vijay, this is going to take me to that next question that you're trying, which is that obviously we don't live in isolation. We are part of an organization. We are working with people, and we grow self, but at the same time we want to be making sure that our teams and people that are in our organizations are also growing. And that way, I've read that you're a very inclusive leader. So I would like you to share it, that how have you brought that element of inclusiveness in your organizations or the people that you've worked with, so that you're giving those opportunities of equal growth to people around you. So not only do you grow, but they grow with you. So what would be your say on that?
So, good question and good point, Kiran. I mean, inclusivity is natural, provided you have an open mind, right? The challenge that happens is people many times become too narrow in their approach, too choosy in their approach, or at times insecure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the challenge is to keep challenge for each individual is to keep reminding oneself that the world is big. Every person has a space of his or her own, right? There is no way that someone else could be encroaching your own space, your space, or you could be encroaching on someone else's space, per se. Till the time keep yourself open and say that we have to increase the paradigm. We have to increase the space that we operate in, right? If we
Mm-hmm.
actually so till the time we are doing that, inclusivity comes naturally. That's my understanding. That's my state. So it's not. I mean, if you start putting effort to become inclusive, and you try to think about it, I mean, I think it'll become that is the time when you start thinking in different ways. I feel different. I feel the other way around. I said, it comes naturally till the time you stay open. You say that say that do what is best at a given time. Do what
So,
is
but
best.
as a leader, how are you trying to create that inclusive culture in your organization? So maybe there would be three ways that other people can actually be more inclusive in their approach. Obviously, other than the fact that you have to be open-minded, but that's not an easy thing for a lot of people because insecurities start coming in, seeping in. Oh my God, my space. So how can we encourage other people to be more inclusive and create the right culture in the organization? Because culture is everything.
Exactly. So bang on. I mean, I think it's very good to hear that culture is everything. I personally feel that culture is what creates a business. Culture is what grows a business. Culture is what breaks a business.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So you're right. Culture is everything. So what do you do? Be transparent. Be transparent. I mean, do what you do what you say. I mean, if you're trying to say something and say only things that you can do. Say what you want to say. I mean, say exactly what you want to do. I mean, don't have talks differently behind the doors. So don't have
Mm,
talks differently outside the doors. I mean, have a same sense of belongingness, saying so that people see through it. I mean, people are smart, right? People see
mm,
through it in terms of what you believe and what you say. So if you are actually walking the talk, is what bunch of people say, and you
mm,
do genuinely by yourself, I think that will create an inclusive culture that will get people to tell you openly in terms of what's happening, what's not, and once you and keep your channels of communication open. If
mm,
people are able to walk across and not sit in their own ivory towers,
mm,
walk across and actually hear the people who are actually going through it day in day out. If you come in, is to I mean, best example is the shop floor in a manufacturing company. Go down to the person who's actually in the assembly line fitting parts. Go talk to them. Hey, how do you feel working here? If he says,
mm,
it sucks. There's no fan here. There's no proper ventilation here. That'll tell you what it means. But at the same time,
Absolutely.
he says, what? No, it's really pleasant out here. I love doing what I do. I mean, I'm able to eat on time. I'm a healthy person.
mm,
I'm able to come out. I'm able to spend time with my family. That clearly tells you that what I mean. That tells you more than what the management, anyone else, or any other things could talk
mm,
about.
mm.
Right? I think that's where one needs to look at as a leader. Look at the bottom of the pyramid. Where is the impact getting changed?
In
Hmm.
fact,
No,
recently, our guest last week, Pranab, was sharing something very interesting, which was about it's leadership is like a bottle. It's tight at the top and it's broader below, right? So problems are generally on the top. We are always blaming the bottom part of it, but have you actually really solved your problems and understood your issues at the top? Because if you are clear on the top, then the bottom is actually going to be way easier to be, letting the flow of thoughts go in, the communication go in. It becomes broader down, but you have to sort out the top first. And I think that is was brilliantly shared with him, that analogy of the a bottle being top at, tight at the top. So
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Very, very interesting that you say that, leadership is like a bottle. I
Hmm.
personally feel leader's job is to unclog the bottle's
Yeah.
mouth, right? Remove the bottlenecks. That's the first job.
Exactly
Yes.
very well.
Remove
You need to
clutter, remove
just.
clutter, remove bottleneck, bring clarity to the people. If you give clarity to them, I mean, remove ambiguity in their
Very
mind.
true. And and
That
and
is
that's
a
that's
good
where the
answer.
culture plays such an important role, because if you are able to really give them a perspective of transparency, the openness, what you're talking about, you can clear all the hurdles for them so that they can work in a very inclusive manner. That's something what culture is all about, so that they can perform their best. And I remember one quote which is like, it's pretty famous, where it says that strategy would be eaten as a breakfast if you don't have a right culture, right?
Uh,
So you can make all the strategy at sitting at the top and saying that,
mm,
okay, this is something which needs to be done, but if you don't have a right culture, nothing is going to work.
absolutely,
So
because that's
would I,
right.
Bang on, Devesh. I've been lucky enough to have worked for amazing companies which had the right value systems and gave us the right opportunities to actually think broad and actually work broad. Each of the companies that I've worked for, actually, few things that have helped me a lot in my career is making the right choices, the right companies, and the right set of people to work with. All
Mm,
my companies that I worked for had excellent value systems.
value
High on
systems. I love that.
integrity, respect, high on
Mm,
integrity, respect, process orientation, high performance culture, right? All of these organizations, I'm proud to have worked for, be it Hyundai Motors where I started, Birla Soft, DuPont that I worked with, Chegg that I'm working for. All of these companies are amazing, have been amazing in this, and
Super.
have shaped me personally as a professional, as a person, indeed, rather, of actually encouraging the right behavior, right?
mm,
Saying that there have been situations. I've been in various leadership roles across countries, across continents, where you are actually far away from your headquarters, right? Where if you're standing by something, you need a fallback arrangement. Many times you're second guessing that I'm taking a hard stand on it. But since it met the value culture, be the leadership, be the board, they stood saying, "Oh, no, no, absolutely right. I mean, I think we will go by that."
Great. And
So, good, bad, ugly, situations are always taken care of. You have the right value system in place, which actually helps us shape the culture of the organization,
And
all
I'm
the
going to
you
cultures
take
that
back,
people operate
Vijay,
in.
to what your value system, how you said, started from your schooling days where you actually have got that whole culture. I mean, the value system of what you want to do as right. And from there, the bigger your insight on knowing your values personally, you're able to bring that and align yourself with the right kind of organizations which actually respect those values and want you to grow bigger on the outside too. So I would say that that's a really,
yeah,
great take on it.
right. Great. So, as you talked about, Vijay, about the high performance culture, the organizations which you have been, and that made me to think that probably that has been the reason that probably across your whole experience you have been just making sure that how you can be on that accelerated growth journey, how you can remain action oriented so that you can deliver results and performance for your organization. And that's what I have been noticing and watching, that how your you have been growing all these organization in which you have worked at an accelerated pace. So my question to you would be, Vijay, that how you are really managing some of these short term goals, short term immediate goals which are there, and aligning that with your long term sustainability, because that's very important, that over a period of time the culture which you create, it delivers that amount of growth for a longer period of time. So I'm sure our listeners would be really willing to understand that how you are really managing both the aspects of business, because that's a fine thread on which, if a leader understand how to walk upon, probably he is the most successful one. So over to you, how you have been doing this so successfully.
So, a very good question, Devesh. One of the things that I feel all the companies that I've worked for had an excellent vision or a purpose statement. So the purpose
Hmm.
statement was compelling enough to hold me steadfast in whatever I wanted to do. The purpose statement is paramount. Second thing, and equally important, was the value statement.
Hmm.
How values taught us how would we go about achieving our mission or purpose. So these were the two things that I genuinely feel that have to be very strong enough for every organization, every individual to, I mean, for even individuals, right? I mean, one should have a north star goal or a mission statement for one own self. The value statement is the personal value statement that each of us as individuals should have, saying that what will I do, or what will I not to come what may,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's important, right? That's very, very important for us to create our own sense of meaning. Ultimately, we need to know where we are going, so that it's not that we're just going in a boat with a rudder, and rather So we have a direction to go to, and also to gain speed is the value statement. So that's how I look at it. And has been for me the way, I mean, I've been choosing organizations based on that. Also, I've been choosing on the people that I would work with. Of course, people say that you don't choose your bosses, but
Mm-hmm.
when you choose your company, you at least understand what kind of people you're going to work with,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? So when you're joining organization, you definitely have a right to choose, saying that what kind of an organization am I going to work with? How do they operate in?
The culture.
What are their value statements? What are the value statement of the organization? What is the overall purpose of the mission that this organization is trying to solve for the world?
Mm.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that has to be compelling enough for me to be there, and that's where when all of these match your personal value statement, boom, you have
Boom.
synergies.
The magic
And
You just
happens.
perform.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
just
and
perform at
then
a super accelerated pace.
Yeah.
exactly, right. So it is important that you get to work every day happy.
Absolutely.
And trust me, we are in business. There are happy, dull, sad, all kinds of moments. But one
Very
thing that
true.
keeps you should have something that keeps you as a North Star to keep going, right? And for me, I look up at the purpose and the mission statement that I signed up for.
Mm. Very well.
Great. No,
Mm.
so and I think the way you explained it, it's something which is an ethos of leadership card.
Mm.
As leaders, when we are talking to the emerging leader, we always talk about that from a self point of view. You should be knowing that what is that your own personal mission statement, where you want to see yourself, what is that goal where you want to go, and are you aligned in that right direction to achieve those goals. So as you said, it was absolutely bang on in terms of that what we are also talking to our emerging leaders, people, and the people with whom we are engaged and working upon. So very very apt points, Vijay. Thank you for giving that perspective on the on how this whole accelerated growth is actually a fundamentals about how your personal vision and growths vision and value statements are aligned with the company's value statement, and that actually helps you to deliver in the best possible manner. Thank you so much. So, Kiran, over to you.
Okay, so I think, Vijay, we are already near the end of this episode. We're having too much fun. But if you had to share one key message to emerging leaders so that they can accelerate their growth journey, what would that be, Vijay?
Apart from having a North Star mission or a mission statement for oneself, and also have a value statement, I would
Mm.
say that continue building on capability on a regular basis. There is nothing. I mean, like they say, right? I mean, hard work will always beat talent.
Mhm.
In the burst of the days, hard work is what will come in handy to you, and
Absolutely.
hard work
Yeah.
actually comes from having orientation of building capability. So that would be my 2 cents to the emerging
Perfect.
leaders.
Well, very
Like,
well put,
continue
Vijay.
investing in their capabilities.
Absolutely.
Thank
I would
you.
just say that there are so many takeaways for myself personally, I'm sure for our viewers too. But my three takeaways from today's session would be that number one, have a clear value statement for yourself, which is like a North Star guiding you constantly so that you can keep aligning your goals, your visions to that North Star and keep moving forward. The second one would be remove clutter so that not only can you work in the best possible manner, but also help the people that are working around you in the best possible manner by creating the right culture. And then the third thing is whenever you're making decisions, think about the societal outcomes, think about your customers' outcomes, think about the environment, and think about the employees, because that way you are ensuring that everybody is on the right page. So with that, I'm going to say thank you to Vijay for joining us today, and to our viewers for being here. Leadership Talks will be back next week with another leader to share their journey. For more information, join the Leadership Card Facebook page and tune into Leadership Talks for Emerging Leaders on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you want to get more information about our upcoming programs, check out our website, which is www.leadershipcard.com for leadership programs and how you can get an edge in the industry. Till next time, this is your host, Kirandeep Sandhu, signing off along with Devesh and Vijay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you,
Bye.
Vijay.